almost looked over there. No, I need to look over here. Wow, I'm an idiot. Wow. Hey everyone, my name's UkiRin and I'm back. I wasn't able to upload for 2 weeks because 2 weeks ago on Saturday I went out with friends, and then last week on Saturday I actually got sick. So I had to take a 2-week break, but I'm back. And today I want to talk to you guys about panels. Now, if you guys don't know yet, from time to time I actually do channel reviews on Twitch. What is this garbage color? What is this vomit color, okay? Like, I don't know what you're trying to achieve here, but to me, it feels like you just want people to come in and just like barf all over their monitors, because like this is the color of vomit, okay? It's absolutely disgusting. You need to change it. I don't know what you were thinking when you made this, but like, it needs to go, okay? You disgust me. I'm disgusted. The fuck? Seriously, I'm holding myself back right now. And one of the things I look at straight away when I do these reviews are people's panels. And the reason why is because as a linguist, as a marketer, and as a copywriter, I find panels to be extremely important. And most of the time when I do these reviews, unfortunately, I see that people really don't use panels to their fullest potential. And so that's why today I want to give you guys some tips so that you can turn panels into something amazing that add so much value to your Twitch channel. But before we get into that, let me first talk to you guys about today's sponsor. No, I'm joking. We don't have sponsors. We just... But for real though, if you want to sponsor me, if you're a company and you're watching, then, hit me up. We can probably work something out. My dream is to be sponsored by Lipton and Displate one day, so that would be amazing. So the first reason as to why I believe panels are so amazing is because they are a billboard for your channel, essentially. Because when you think about it, you kind of drop all of the extra information into your panel, such as your socials, such as the About Me section, such as any affiliate links that you might have, any merch that you might have. It all goes down there. So really everything that you want to advertise about you goes into the panels. The second reason why I believe panels are so great is because you can say so much about you that doesn't necessarily need to be said in the streams anymore. I, for example, have an FAQ section in my panels where I kind of talk about the games that I'm into, when I start streaming, like all those additional questions that I feel like get asked quite a lot. I just made an entire FAQ panel just for that, and guess what? People actually do read them and then mention it during the streams, and it kind of becomes a conversation starter. Panels can also be a great way to further solidify your brand, because when you think about it, panels can be very visual. And I've actually seen a lot of panels that just kind of blew me away with the creativeness that went into it. So really, panels are yet another great way to show people, hey, this is my brand, this is what I'm about, here you go. Now, another thing people often don't think about is that there is actually a possibility that some people stumble upon your channel even when you're not streaming. And in that case, your panels are really what's going to decide whether or not people end up following your channel. So if they're able to find great information in there that really kind of convinces them that your streams are worth watching, then they will most likely drop a follow. Now, if you have panels, on the other hand, that just don't really say much about you, then most likely that is a follower that you lost forever. Think about it as like a first impressions, right? Except you're not live. So really, panels are what's going to give people a first impression of you. I also want to mention that this is usually something that happens after a raid. It's happened to me a lot of times where I will raid somebody and then they'll say something along the lines of like,
oh, thank you, UkiRin. Thank you so much for the raid. I will make sure to check out your channel once I'm done streaming.
And then, yeah, usually they do. I've even gotten some people to comment on my panels when I wasn't live because, I rated them and then they kind of got back to me afterwards. So, keep this in mind. Now, as I already mentioned earlier, once you're a little more established as a streamer, you will most likely end up making merch at some point, and your panels are where you're going to be advertising that merch and where you're going to be dropping all the links to your merch. So, the more established you get as a streamer, the more important your panels become. That's why it's so important to make sure that early on you already know what you want with these panels, and you just make it so that it is
perfect.
I keep trying to look at the fucking webcam. No. So, now that we have that out of the way, how should you go about making or writing your panels? Should I? Let's try it. I don't know. Maybe I have something about you. If I use a different angle. Oh, I can see that. Okay, how should I do this? I'll try to lay it around the couch so I can pull something around the couch. Maybe I should do something like this. Hold on. Like, just put it down. Oh, yeah, come on. How do I try to natural? This is hard. Hold up. Not so great. How do I do this? I put anywhere else but this one. Oh god, okay, this is actually not comfortable at all. Okay, I just have to pull out this and I have to pull out. Oh, this is too low. This is too low. This is an actual angle, dude. I'll leave my couch. First of all, be extensive, but also not too extensive. So for example, an About Me panel is actually a great way to introduce yourself for the first time and kind of tell people what you and your streams are about. And if you do a good job writing this is actually going to be something that's going to draw people in and get people interested in what you do. So make sure you don't actually wing this About Me section and actually put some thought into what you write in there. Too often do I see people whose About Me section is something along the lines of like,
hey, I'm UkiRin and I like streaming. I have a very positive attitude. I like meeting people and I play games, so drop a follow and say hi.
And it's like, everybody does that. Everybody's goal is to meet new people, and pretty much like 90% of Twitch plays games, so this isn't really something that is going to make you stand out from the crowd. Instead, some of the things you could be talking about is why you got into streaming, kind of like your little origin story, which is probably going to be very unique to you. You could talk about your favorite games or the games that you currently play on Twitch. You could talk about what your goals are on Twitch, and again, be extensive about those goals. Don't just be like,
I want to become a partner one day.
because again, that's like all of Twitch pretty much. When you say what you want to achieve on Twitch, make it so that it's unique to you. Now, as I already mentioned earlier, branding, again, is something that you should really pay attention to when making these panels, because it is something that is going to pretty much define you. But again, try to make this unique to you, right? I still see so many people who make their panels, or at least the titles of their panels, these like boxes. You don't have to stick to that. Just because the majority of Twitch does it doesn't mean you have to do it as well. I've seen some very creative title boxes, or whatever you want to call them, in the panels where people just kind of make all kinds of designs. Get creative. Don't just stick to like one design just because everybody has it. Now, aside from the titles, let's just call them titles. Some of the other things that you can do visually with your panels is add extensions. For example, the Twitter extension is a great one to have. You can also make a visual representation of all of your sub badges and emotes. So it's just kind of like a little picture that shows people what they will get once they sub to you. And another great thing I love to see is when people actually put pictures of themselves in their panels. The next thing I want to talk about are Discord links, because this is something that I feel like needs to be talked about a little bit more. Discord is a great thing to have as a streamer, but the big problem with that is that pretty much every streamer nowadays has a Discord, and if you are familiar with Discord, then you will know that you probably have like a very long list of servers that you are already part of. And if you're like me, it kind of gets to the point where you don't really want to join even more Discord servers. So if you're a streamer and you have a Discord, what is the best way to advertise that Discord? Again, most of the time when I do these channel reviews, I will see something along the lines of like,
Hey, I have a Discord, so join in and meet a bunch of amazing people.
or they'll just have like a Discord link with nothing written in there. And if you're one of the people who does that, you're kind of really underselling yourself, because you can really delve into that a lot deeper and really convince people to join the Discord. So my advice would be to maybe like make a list of all the things that makes your Discord special. If you have like special bots, if you have special tabs maybe for like mental health or something, like not a lot of people have that. So if you have that in your Discord, that is an advantage. If you have literally anything in your Discord that you feel like gives you an edge over other people's Discords, then that is something that you should talk about in your panels as well. So in the end, the effect you want to create is that people see that you have a Discord, they read what your Discord is about, and they end up feeling like they have to join this amazing place in order to you know, enjoy all these things that are happening in there. Another thing I saw somebody else do and I then started doing myself, because I have no shame and I steal people's ideas, has to do with YouTube. So initially I actually made the mistake of, again, you know, putting a link down there and just being like, hey guys, so I make YouTube videos about this stuff, you know, go check it out. Then I saw this idea of somebody actually using the thumbnail from their latest YouTube video and basically then telling people to go check out this video, which is about this or that topic. And I thought,
Wow!
why didn't I think of that? That is so genius. Because again, what you end up doing is instead of just telling people that you have a YouTube, you actually give them an extra incentive to go check it out by showing them, by giving them like a first glimpse of what it is that you do on YouTube. And again, if you're really good with your video thumbnails and titles, then you are definitely going to draw people in with that. Another useful tip is to not forget the order in which you place your panels. Again, this is something that I sometimes see people kind of get wrong. Their panels will be something along the lines of like the top row being all about their merch and donations, and then somewhere near the end they'll talk about themselves in like the about me section, and also their schedule will be somewhere in the middle or near the bottom. And that's just not a good thing to do, because not only does it give the impression of you being greedy, because you know the things you put at the top are all things that are of monetary value, but at the same time the important stuff like your schedule and the about me section are just kind of placed underneath everything else, and that is really the stuff that is going to sell your channel to somebody for the first time. So a good way to go about this would be to always put stuff like your schedule and your about me section at the top, and then kind of work your way down from there. And finally, if you need some extra inspiration for some panels, then you can always add stuff like your sub perks, a list of games that you're currently playing, maybe even like an FAQ, or, and this is probably the most important one, your PC specs, because that is a question I frequently get asked. Even though my PC spec panel is there, I still get so many people asking what I use to stream with, and that is why I actually have a video about everything. My entire PC streaming setup, everything from like even the stuff in the background. Like I made a video where I describe all of that. So go check out that video if you're interested. But yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys again soon on Twitch, where I stream 4 days a week. And yeah, have a great time, guys. Bye-bye! Because I have no, oh god.